Hello guys, good morning everybody. Welcome to our YouTube channel. If I am audible, let me know. हाँ जी, good morning everybody. हाँ जी guys, if I'm audible, just let me know. Give me a clarification. Audible. Thank you, Shivani. Right. So let's begin the session for today. Are you able to see this newspaper? Do let me know. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. Now, a lot of developments have taken place in Middle East. That is quite evident by this front page news. As Iran has conducted certain strikes or the missile strikes in Iraq, in Syria, and lastly in Pakistan. Now, this is a big news that is coming from the Middle East. As we can see, tensions have been rising in the Middle East, and there have been this war that has been going on Israel and Hamas, and it is now going beyond that, right? We can see from the evidence that Iran has conducted airstrikes in Iraq, in Syria, and in Pakistan. Now, before I make you understand what is the whole matter, let's try to understand the location of these areas, right? So let's try to understand. Now, when we talk about, let's say, this is the map that we have of Iran and Pakistan. Now, this is the region that I want to highlight. This is the disputed boundary region that is there between Iran and Pakistan. That is the Sistan and Baluchistan province. Now, here, both the countries target each other of harboring militant or the terrorist groups. So, this is the rough idea that you need to have related to Sistan and Baluchistan province. It is between Iran and Pakistan. Now we have seen these type of questions generally coming in the examination that Sistan और Baluchistan province किसके बीच में है तो आपको पता होना चाहिए it is an area that is between Iran and Pakistan. Now let's try to understand the other map of Iran, Pakistan, Iraq and Syria. As you can see over here, this is the region of Sistan and Baluchistan. This is what we have Iran over here. We have Pakistan. This is Iraq and this is Syria. So Iran has conducted airstrikes in Iraq, Syria and Pakistan. Now before I tell you that let's say कि ये strikes हुई हैं last हुई हैं अगर हम बात करें कल ही हुई हैं. Now one thing we have to understand is there have been certain claims that have been made by Iran that when it comes to Pakistan, there is a militant and the terrorist group that has been operating from the Baluchistan province whose name is Jaish al-Adl. Whose name is Jaish al-Adl, which is known as Army of the Justice. So first of the point that we have to understand is it is related to Iran conducting militant attacks against the militant outfits that are based in Pakistan, right? So they have said that what we can do, we will do in order to defend our territory and to defend our people. Now, recently we have seen there have been a lot of attacks that have been claimed that have been taken in Iran by this Jaish al-Adl or this Army of Justice. That is why Iran now has retaliated by conducting airstrikes in this particular region, what we call it as the Sistan Baluchistan region, right? ये हमें पता होना चाहिए इस particular context को लेकर. Now, coming back to ईरान का समझ में आ रहा है कि ईरान ने यहाँ पे जैश अल अदल है, जैश अल अदल आर्मी ऑफ जस्टिस है, उसके ऊपर क्या करे हैं एयर स्ट्राइक्स कंडक्ट करे हैं एंड पाकिस्तान हैज सेड दैट ईरान डजंट हैव द राइट बट उन्होंने बोला कि जो हमें अपनी टेरिटरी को डिफेंड करने के लिए करना है तो वो करेंगे ही बिकॉज फ्रॉम योर साइड देयर हैव बीन militant operation outfits that have been operating and we have conducted air strikes against them. Similarly, Iran has conducted air strikes in Iraq and Syria as well. Now, when we talk about Syria, Iran has conducted that against the alleged ISIS bases that are there in Syria that have been responsible for conducting terrorist attacks in Iran recently. Second of all, why Iran has conducted attacks against Iraq? Because here they say that there have been harboring Israel's spy officials or intelligence agencies officials, that is Mossad officials. Now one thing you have to understand is when we talk about Israel, their जो national intelligence agency उनको Mossad बोला जाता है, और यहाँ पे बोला जाता है कि Mossad के officials हैं जो यहाँ से terrorist operations conduct करते हैं ईरान के अंदर. So that is why Iran has retaliated against Syria, against Iraq, and against Pakistan. So these are three different outfits against which Iran has conducted airstrikes. As we can see, against Pakistan, it is the Jaish al-Adl, which is the army of the justice. If we talk about Iran, they have conducted against Iraq, basically against the Israel. And when we talk about Syria, they have conducted against the ISIS, right? Now, when we talk about this whole issue that has been brewing up between Israel and Hamas, one thing you have to understand is when we talk about Hamas, it is a Palestinian militant outfit. Somehow it has been backed by Iran. And when we talk about this Red Sea, where we see a lot of Houthi rebels that have been attacking the container ships in the Red Sea, they are also allegedly backed by Iran. Similarly, if we see the situation in Lebanon, Hezbollah group, that is also backed by Iran. So we can see there have been a lot of outfits that have been, let's say, backed by Iran. Iran doesn't get directly engulfed into the war, but it is providing it through a certain groups, right? This is what we call it as the proxy war. So you can see the situation right now. War which started between Hamas and Israel is not only limited to this particular region. As you can see, ये Israel वाले region तक limited नहीं है, ये Red Sea में भी पहुंच चुकी है. Now it has taken the shape of Iran conducting airstrikes in Iraq as well against the Mossad officials, and then we have against Syria as well, and against here Pakistan as well. Now I am just getting a news update that Pakistan has also retaliated, right? This has just come on my news app that Pakistan has also retaliated. Let me see the news. It says Pakistan hits militant targets in Iran day after deadly strike in Baluchistan. Right now, it is a developing story. It will be updated, but Pakistan has also retaliated back. So you can see now what we are witnessing, that the war is coming closer to India as well. Right, this Israel and Hamas war, it is not only limited to Middle East, it has reached our neighbor as well. As ईरान ने पाकिस्तान के ऊपर अटैक किए और पाकिस्तान ने किसके ऊपर अटैक कर दिया, ईरान के ऊपर अटैक कर दिया. And now there could be certain changes that could be made, or we can say there could be certain developments that could be taken or coming from Syria and Iraq as well, right? So there are a lot of tensions that are building over this whole issue, and this Middle East region once again has become destabilized, right? One thing that you have to understand is that this particular region is very, very important from the trade purpose. Excuse me, it is very, very important for the trade purpose. And but when we see such type of developments taking place in this region, then it becomes a lot of uncertainty that this region might not be stable in the upcoming times. I hope this point is clear to everybody. हाँ जी, यहाँ तक सबको क्लैरिटी है. So you are aware of the situation of Iran, you are aware of the situation of Iraq, and you are aware of the situation of Pakistan. And the terror outfit group we are talking about that has been targeted by Iran is the Jaish al-Adl, which is also known as the Army of the Justice. I can highlight it over here. It is Jaish al-Adl, right? So this is a point that we have to understand. Now, second thing that we have to understand is what has been the stand of India on this. Now, what has been done? India has backed Iran. Terms strikes act of self-defense. Now India has backed the act of Iran. Now this is some kind of, we can say, geopolitics or a diplomacy that is being played by India, considering how much China is closer to Iran and Saudi Arabia right now, which are the two powerhouses of the Middle East. And in this context, India has backed Iran, that this it is their act of self-defense by the strikes that they have conducted. In a statement on Wednesday, India backed Iran on its strikes on alleged terror camps in Pakistan's Baluchistan province, calling it an act of self-defense. This is the matter between Iran and Pakistan. This strikes come just after a day external affairs minister visit to Iran. So a lot of developments are taking place between the whole Middle East, and we have to be aware of each and everything because this is very, very important. I don't think there has to be any variation. Hanji guys, is this the same newspaper you are getting? The first news that is the same news? Pakistan strikes by Iran recalls in why? Those who are getting the physical paper, just give me an idea. Quickly. So Shivani, you get the physical copy, right? Okay. So this is the news that we have to understand in context of Pakistan, Iraq and Iran. Right. Okay. Now moving to the next part. there's nothing important. I will directly go to the next page. ठीक है, ये सारी रीजनल न्यूज है, यहाँ पे इतना ज्यादा पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है. नाउ अगेन इट इज द न्यूज दैट यू कैन रीड ओवर हियर, दैट इंडिया डिफेंड्स ईरान, cites its position of no compromise against terrorism. Ministry of External Affairs says that India understand actions in self-defense. Iran's strikes on alleged militant bases in Pakistan had just come a day after Jaishankar's visit to Tehran, where he met Iranian president and foreign minister. So this is a great development, that is what we can say, coming from India, Iran, what we can say that इंडिया ने जो स्टैंड लिया है कंसिडरिंग चाइना के कंटेक्स्ट में ही लिया है, राइट? ओके, एंड इन कंटेक्स्ट ऑफ पाकिस्तान एज वेल. ओके, मूविंग टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट. ठीक है, सारी पॉलिटिकल न्यूज है, ये चल रही है. नाउ दिस इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग न्यूज. Rainfall rising in over half of India's sub-districts, say 4 decade study. About 11% of tehsils witnessed reducing rainfall, of which 87% saw a decline during the critical Kharif sowing months. Many districts saw extreme deficiencies and excesses even during normal monsoon. Several tehsils of Maharashtra, Goa, Odisha, West Bengal report increasing winter rainfall. Now, rainfall increasing in more than half of India's 45,400 tehsils, says a granular analysis of changes in the Indian monsoon conducted for the first time at the tehsil level. While 55% of the tehsils have seen a rise in rainfall, about 11% have experienced a fall. Now, one of the points that we have to understand is when we are talking about this variation in the monsoon that has been witnessed in India, considering how much there has been the climate change that has been happening, that has a direct impact on the monsoon variability, and that is quite evident when there has been a study that has been conducted at the local level and at the tehsil level, where we get an idea that 55% of the tehsils have seen a rise in rainfall and about 11% have experienced a fall. So this is a very interesting fact that you have to remember. Worryingly, the decrease occurred largely during the critical southwest monsoon. Now, जो ये डिक्रीज देखने को मिला है, ये हमारे लिए प्रॉब्लम क्यों है? क्योंकि ये जो डिक्रीज हुआ है, ये उस टाइम पे हुआ है जहां पे हमारा इंडिया का सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट मॉनसून सीजन होता है, जहां पे वी ग्रो द खारिफ सीजन क्रॉप्स, एंड वी नो that if there is lesser of rainfall, then it can create a lot of problems for our food security as well, because our crops require water, and if there is no water from the monsoon, then we will have to depend on irrigation, and if we see the irrigation in India, then it is not up to the mark that we require it to be. So as a result, it can directly create an impact on the food security of the country. In fact, the tehsils which experience lower rainfall, about 68% saw reduced rainfall in all the monsoon months, while 80% showed a decline during the initial months of June and July, which are crucial for the sowing of Kharif crops. Most of the tehsils are in Indo-Gangetic plains, which contribute to more than half of India's agriculture production, as well as in the northeastern India and the Himalayan region. I hope this point is clear to everybody. ये जितनी भी तहसील्स की हम बात कर रहे हैं, ये सारी Indo-Gangetic plains में, and I know everybody is aware of this fact that when we talk about Indo-Gangetic plains, it is one of the most important areas that is very important for agriculture, and it is a basically contribution gives to our half of India's agriculture production. The study, which was authorized by Shravan Prabhu and Vishwas Chitale of the Council on Energy, Environment and Water, a research and policy think tank, analyzes high-resolution meteorological data spanning 4 decades from 1982 to 2022, which has been recorded by IMD. So basically, they have tried to cover the time period जो है 1982 से 2022 तक है. And I'm telling you, this is your direct prelims question. You might not get the questions that you might see in the previous years, right? हम देखते हैं कि one word questions ज्यादातर ऐसे पूछे जाते हैं. अब आपको ऐसे एनालिसिस बेस्ड क्वेश्चन भी पूछे जा सकते हैं, जहां पे क्वेश्चन पूछा जा सकता है कि रेनफॉल राइजिंग इन ओवर हाफ ऑफ इंडिया सब डिस्ट्रिक्ट क्या है, स्टडी किसने करी है, ये स्टडी का कौन पार्ट था, ये आपसे सब पूछ सकते हैं, राइट? नाउ when we see India collectively experienced 29 normal, 8 above normal, and 3 below normal years during that period, but an analysis at the district level reveals that 30% of Indian districts witnessed several more years of deficient rainfall, and 38% saw many years of excessive rainfall. Now, these are the certain points that you have to understand. And one thing you need to understand is that what we are witnessing right now in this particular context that is related to southwest monsoon. Now, the deficiencies or the excesses of rainfall we are witnessing, it is because of the changes in this whole climatic variations and condition. And one of the things that you can attribute is climate change. As you can see that there has been a very lesser of snowfall that has taken place in Gulmarg and Sonmarg. What is the main factor? What you can say is attributing to the fact it is because of the changes in the seasons. थोड़ी देर में अब सर्दियां लेट आ रही हैं. Earlier we used to had winters by December, let's say early December, right? But now winters are coming very late into December. So as a result, the whole season is changing. As a result, that has a profound impact on the snowfall as well. As you can see that snowfall भी बड़ा late आया है. I'm not saying winter season is related to snowfall. It is about the western disturbances that create snowfall. But one of the things that we have to understand from this perspective is that it has the impact of climate change. That is quite evident, quite visible. That is reinventing this whole monsoonal thing, and as a result there has been a certain variation that is being found in the rainfall. I hope this point is clear to everybody. Okay, now this is a very interesting study, that is over half of the youth is struggling with basic maths. That is according to annual status of education report. Now this is very important. Now, annual status of education report had its basically titled name as Beyond Basics. So this is a direct prelims question. Beyond Basics report ko kisne release kiya hai? It has been released by annual status of education. Now, it included a survey by this civil society organization Pratham among rural students aged 14 to 18. So basically they had this data that was basically done over the survey, that is of the students aged between 14 to 18. The household survey conducted in 28 districts across 26 states assessed the foundational reading of the and arithmetic abilities of 34,745 students. So basically they were checking about the reading habits and the arithmetic abilities. It discussed the activities students are engaged in, their basic and applied reading and math abilities. Overall, 86% of 14 to 18 years are enrolled in an education institution. There are small gender gaps, but not able differences are visible age. The percentage of youth not enrolled is 3.9% for a 14-year-old youth and is 32.6 for 18-year-olds. So they are basically talking about कि कौन से students enrolled हैं education में और कौन से students enrolled नहीं है between the age 14 to 18. Now, most of the important people in this age group were enrolled in the arts humanity stream. In class 11th or higher, more than half are enrolled in the arts humanity stream. Now, most of the people are enrolled in the arts and humanity stream, and the girls are less likely to be enrolled in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics than boys. On abilities such as basic reading, maths, and English abilities, application of basic skills to everyday calculation, reading and understanding written instructions, and financial calculations that need to be done in real life, about 25% still cannot read a class level 2 text fluently in their regional language. Now, this is a concerning figure. कि भाई एक 12वीं क्लास का बच्चा अपने सेकंड क्लास की जो टेक्स्ट है उसको अपनी रीजनल लैंग्वेज में नहीं पढ़ सकता, और ऐसे कितने स्टूडेंट्स हैं? 25%. Now this is very very important. More than half struggle with division, that is 3-digit by 1-digit problems. Only 43% are able to do such problems correctly. The skill is usually expected in standard 3rd and 4th. A little over half can read sentences in English. Of those who can read sentences, almost 3/4 can tell their meanings. Close to 90% of all the youth have smartphones in the household and know how to use it. So students have got the, let's say, smartphones, but they are not able to read. They are not able to solve the basic arithmetic. Most of them, right? As you can see over here, and that is very a concerning figure that is directly coming from this annual status of education report beyond basics that has been released by Pratham, right? तो यहाँ से पता चलता है कि हमारा जो education है वो कितना backward जा रहा है. It has not been up to the mark, right? The way the which the students have been educated, I will not say it's a responsibility of the or the fault of the students, but it is a fault of our teaching system. It's a fault of our education system, that why we are not able to give and imbibe the learning of reading and basic English skills, right? Why we haven't been able to do that? So there's a big question mark on the kind of education that these students have received. And obviously, if they have not been able to study that much good and they have not been able to given the best education, obviously it will create a lot of impact in their future career as well. Okay, now moving to the next part. आज के आर्टिकल्स ऐसे कोई इंटरेस्टिंग नहीं है, ये वैसे ही सारे वही हैं. वेस्ट एशिया गाजा का इशू है, ये हिंदू क्वेश्चन है, पॉलिटिकल हो जाता है, राइट? रेड सी का डेटरेंस है, ये हम पहले देख चुके हैं, ठीक है. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, रूरल गर्ल्स वांट्स टू बी इंजीनियर्स एंड डॉक्टर्स बट चूज आर्ट्स, राइट? सो ये हमें पता ही है हमारे देश में क्या चलता है. This is according to the annual status of education report that has been clearly said that the most of the students that are now, we have seen that there is a difference between aspirations and what are the actual stream options they are choosing. So that is quite concerning and it is quite evident as well, right? Okay, now this is a particular fact. इसको बस देख लेते हैं क्या है. Manipur government has been asked by the center to examine a representation seeking the delisting of certain Kuki and Zomi tribes for the ST list of the Manipur. So basically central government has asked Manipur government कि आप check करो कि whether there could be certain Kuki and Zomi tribes that are inside the Manipur that can be delisted from the ST list of the Manipur. This is the first time members of the Meitei community have tried to push for their inclusion on the ST list. Now and members of the ST community are saying that we need to be given the ST status, right? By arguing that certain Kuki and Zomi tribes did not deserve to be on it. There is no empirical evidence of yet to show that these tribes' names present in the ST list has aided any form of organized illegal migration into Manipur beyond individual instances and the rhetoric presented by the Meitei community. So some of this article is basically related to that there has been illegal migration coming into this particular Manipur because of this listing of them under as ST tribes. So that is why this whole issue, I think everybody is aware कि Meitei और Kuki और Zomi tribes का क्या issue था. Meitei lives in the plains and has got all the opportunities if we talk about the economic and the political. But when we talk about the Kuki and the Zomi, they have been living in the tribal and the forest areas, but they haven't received what we can call it as the all the economic and political opportunities. So the whole conflict was related to this particular thing is only that is about the economic and the political representation. So there has been a ever never ending conflict between the Meitei tribe and the Kuki and the Zomi tribe. Okay. Now moving to the next part. Now this is very interesting. Where do China-Taiwan relations stand? I think everybody is aware of one of the particular aspect that China from this particular new year as well has always said that they will reunify China, Taiwan with China. But Taiwan has been trying to maintain and asserts its democracy since 1996. It has been able to head elections and there have been democracy that has been established in Taiwan. So as the result, one of the things that we can understand is if there has been democracy established in Taiwan, it means people want over there that there shall be a democratic form of government as compared to China, where there is a particularly one party rule, that is Communist Party of China. So whenever we talk about democracy, democracy is not only about having a right to vote, it is also about having various options as well. When you see China, there is no other option than Communist Party of China. So how you can say that that is a full democracy that has been established in China? So that are quite concerns, and as a result, whether we have to see that Taiwan और China की अगर हम interest देखें तो बहुत different है इस time पे. अगर from Taiwan side we see, but from China side they have always maintained that it is a part of what? China. Now in this context, Nairu, a small island nation, has announced that it is shifting its diplomatic relations from Taipei to Beijing. Now because Taiwan concluded its democratic elections, Li Ching-ti, who was the vice president under earlier, right now is the new elected president of Taiwan. You need to know Li Ching-ti is the new elected president of Taiwan. This is the third term for the DPP, that is the Democratic Progressive Party, with the win being perceived as a major blow to China. However, within a days of the result, Nairu, a small island nation, has announced because of this result, they are shifting their relations from Taipei to Beijing. Beijing has followed a pattern of luring smaller nations with the promise of financial investment and infrastructure development. So one of the thing is absolutely clear कि what does China do? जो small nations हैं जो हम देखते हैं उनको वो lure करता है कि हमको financial investment करेंगे, आपकी development करेंगे, infrastructure projects लेके आएंगे, so that they could align their policies and resonate what China is trying to say. That is, China doesn't consider Taiwan as a different country, but it considers as an integral part of China. So same thing is being done by this China in context of small island nations, where it is luring them. Okay, you be on our side and we will provide you all the important things like infrastructure and the money. But one thing they are forgetting, the condition that the Chinese investment brings in, like it has brought to Sri Lanka, it has brought to Pakistan. In his New Year's address, Mr. Xi Jinping had remarked that reunification is Taiwan is inevitable and Taiwan is a sacred territory. So this becomes absolutely clear that what has been the stand of China in context of Taiwan. I hope this point is clear to everybody. ठीक है कि जो हमें चीज पता होनी चाहिए. Okay. Now, moving to the next part, we have already discussed why did Iran carry out strikes in Iraq, Syria, and Pakistan. Israel escalates Gaza strikes after medicine for aid deal. China's population falls for a second straight year, right? Greenland has lost more than 20% more ice than previously thought. Now, this is a big news. Climate change has caused Greenland's ice sheet to lose 20% more ice than previously thought, according to a research and the studies, right? So these are the things that we are getting, and I'm telling you guys, this is the most important impact that takes place on the, if we talk about climate change, that it directly results in thinning of ice that has seriously done over here, right? तो ये चीज से हमें अवेयर रहना चाहिए, and we need to address this issue. Okay, now I don't see there is anything important. इकोनॉमिक्स में भी कुछ ज्यादा important नहीं है, ठीक है. I hope now. Okay, I hope there could be something important, but it hasn't been. Because yesterday was a very interesting match between India and Afghanistan, right? So it had two super overs. Okay. ठीक है, वैसे मुझे पता है कि क्वेश्चंस पूछे नहीं जाते हैं स्पोर्ट्स में ऐसे टेक्निक से, बट व्हाट वी आर विटनेसिंग इज दैट व्हेन अ मैच गेट्स टाई इन अ T20, आई सपोज देयर इज अ सुपर ओवर, and after a super over is tied there is another super over, so there are different rules related to it. एक बार पढ़ लेना उनको. यूपीएससी का कुछ नहीं भरोसा, उन्होंने 2022 में प्रीलिम्स में क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया था इंडिया और न्यूजीलैंड का वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप फाइनल का. सो एनीथिंग कैन बी आस्क्ड इन द यूपीएससी, सो बी अवेयर ऑफ सच थिंग्स कि सुपर ओवर टाई हो जाए तो उसके बाद क्या होता है, राइट? सो व्हाट आर द वेरियस रूल्स, जस्ट ट्राई टू हैव अ रीड ऑफ दैट रूल्स, राइट? एक बार रूल्स देख लेना बस. सो दैट्स इट गाइस, एंड आई एम डन विद टुडेज एनालिसिस. यू हैव एनी डाउट, यू कैन आस्क. हाँ जी, कोई डाउट हो तो पूछ सकते हो यार. डोंट वरी, आई एम एट योर डिस्पोजल, हैप्पीली एंड फॉर एवर. चलिए, ठीक है गाइस, सी यू टुमारो एंड सेम टाइम. ठीक है, एक चीज हमेशा याद रखो, जरूरी नहीं है कि मेरा ब्लैक बोर्ड पे आना ही जरूरी हो, राइट? सो इट इज अबाउट कंडक्टिंग द सेशंस एंड कंडक्टिंग इन अ वेरी फेयर मैनर so that you guys are able to understand that what are the important highlights of today, right? So thank you so much, take care, bye bye, enjoy your day.